Ankalaev is just so fucking good. I think a couple things. I think Alex has a great chance of beating him in the rematch. I think Alex goes too hard. I mean, how many title defenses did he have? Like going up and down weight classes.
Alex Pereira wrestled for 2 years straight. Nothing else, just wrestling. Alex Pereira, Olympic champion.
How someone striking guy come to the wrestling and 2 years be Olympic champion?
Is he taking him down?
For 1 minute.
It's like, you have to respect Alex Pereira's power, but you also have to be able to willing to get in there and trade, and that's what Ankalaev did. He cracked him good a few times. He almost dropped him at the end of the second, I believe.
He can take a lot from that. I hope he wins. I hope Alex wins.
То же самое не нужно словами бросаться. Мы ожидаем что-то октября будет. Давайте сделаем это в ринге. Зачем говорить пустые слова?
Ele falou, cara, na verdade a gente vai lutar no dia 4 de outubro, a gente não tem que trocar palavras mais.
Eu não falei nada, ele sempre falou. Eu nunca falei nada, ele sempre falou. E agora quando chegou frente a frente, é cuzão.
The rivalry between Alex Pereira and Magomed Ankalaev has become one of the most talked about storylines in all of MMA, and it's no surprise that their rematch has the entire fight world buzzing. Fans, analysts, and fighters themselves are split down the middle on who walks away victorious when they meet again. Their first clash was already filled with drama, controversy, and post-fight accusations, and now the stakes have only grown larger. For Pereira, this is about redemption, about showing the world that the version of him who stepped into the cage last time wasn't the real Poten. For Ankalaev, this is about validation, about proving once and for all that he is the superior fighter without any doubts, excuses, or question marks attached to his name. What makes this matchup so compelling is the clash of styles and the personal storylines attached to it. On one side is Pereira, a knockout artist whose striking is feared across divisions, a man who can change the course of a fight with a single punch. On the other side is Ankalaev, a methodical technician, calm under pressure, with grappling and composure that has broken down opponent after opponent. Their first fight at UFC 313 ended with Ankalaev taking a unanimous decision victory, but the aftermath left fans divided. Many believe Pereira was compromised, fighting at less than half his true potential. Others argue that Ankalaev had to fight through his own struggles, from injuries in camp to the feeling that Pereira had an unfair edge.
So I do think Alex has the tools to pull this off, and for the sport and for the longevity of the UFC and for this new Paramount deal, you want Alex to win. And listen, I don't need a guy tweeting and doing all this shit talking and all that stuff. It's just Magomed's style, even though he's looked upon as a grappler, but there's just some disconnect there with the fan base and with the media where Magomed's not a bigger star. I do think we see a very different fight from Alex, being healthy, having the tape study of the first fight, even though he's injured, he can take a lot from that.
I don't understand. I understand it. Ó, ele acha que a gente tava tipo, funcionando o professor dele, tá ligado? A gente sentou aqui, agora ele falou. Isso aqui ele tá falando. Desde o último trecho. Ele entende inglês, não? O treinador entende inglês? Se alguém fala inglês. Falou, já paga o time de problemas, vão ter problema.
The takedowns and the wrestling game weren't necessarily working in the first fight. Would you say that your wrestling was off, or was his takedown defense better than you expected?
To be honest with you, I went through a lot when I was fighting for the title. That training camp was terrible. I couldn't wrestle for the most part of the training camp. I was battling a lot of injuries, and there was a lot of reasons, you know. Also, I told my coach right away during the rounds that that I felt like he was greased. He was just too slippery, you know. And these things happen in professional sport. I'm not accusing him of anything, but that's just what I felt. I spar every day, I train every day. You could feel when people are slippery. It's too much slippery. So I felt.
that tension has only built up, and UFC 320 is now being framed as the night everything gets settled once and for all. From Pereira's perspective, there's a sense of unfinished business. After the first fight, he claimed he was operating at just 40% of his true ability. By his own admission, his camp wasn't ideal, his preparation was lacking, and the man who entered the cage that night wasn't the same beast fans had come to expect. He's confident that even if he enters the rematch at 50%, the difference will be massive, enough to erase the doubts from UFC 313 and leave no question about who the better man truly is. Pereira's power has never been in question, but this time he's promising more than power. He's vowing that his conditioning, his mental focus, and his grappling awareness have all leveled up. That extra 10% he talks about isn't just physical, it's psychological. It's the belief that with proper preparation, the true Poatan is unstoppable. But Ankalaev sees things very differently. In his eyes, the first fight already told the story. He won decisively on the scorecards, landed the cleaner shots, and nearly had Pereira in deep trouble at the end of the second round. Yet what he remembers most is how difficult it was to secure grappling control. Ankalaev insists that Pereira felt unusually slippery that night, so much so that he suspected greasing. To him, this wasn't just sweat from a tough fight, it was something extra that made securing takedowns harder than it should have been. He told his coaches mid-fight that something felt off, and to this day, he hasn't backed down from that claim, but he also revealed that his own preparation was far from perfect. Injuries limited his wrestling during camp, leaving him less sharp than usual. In his mind, he still managed to win despite being compromised. Now, with a healthy camp and what he believes will be a level playing field, Ankalaev is confident he'll silence any remaining doubters. The back and forth accusations have only fueled the fire. Pereira countered Ankalaev's comments by saying that these greasing claims aren't even genuine, suggesting that someone else may be writing statements on Ankalaev's behalf to stir up headlines. In person, Pereira insists that Ankalaev doesn't carry that same energy. For Pereira, this shows that his opponent's words are more about manufacturing drama than dealing with reality. And yet the rivalry is personal now. Both fighters have crossed beyond simple respect for skills. They've challenged each other's integrity, preparation, and toughness. This isn't just about rankings anymore. It's about pride. Experts have weighed in, and the division is as split as the fan base. Some see Ankalaev as the clear favorite, pointing to his ability to neutralize Pereira's calf kicks and limit his offense in the first fight. They note his patience, his discipline, and his ability to make adjustments mid-fight. Others argue that Pereira has the edge because he's the bigger star, the man who thrives under pressure, the fighter who has shown an ability to shock the world before. They believe his activity across weight classes, his relentless pace, and his fight-ending power give him the tools to rewrite history. They also point out that the pressures of fame have weighed differently on each man. Pereira, constantly recognized, constantly under the spotlight, has carried that weight and still delivered highlight reel knockouts. Ankalaev, by contrast, is often overlooked, a technician without the same mainstream appeal, which may fuel his hunger even more. The controversy from UFC 313 also hangs heavily over this rematch. Ankalaev's claims of greasing weren't official accusations, but they were enough to get fans debating. Pereira's dismissal of those comments as manufactured drama only adds fuel to the fire. Both fighters are essentially calling each other liars in different ways, and that kind of tension often translates into explosive rematches. It's not just about who has the better jab, the tighter clinch, or the sharper gas tank. It's about proving something deeper. For Pereira, it's proving that his striking isn't just deadly but untouchable when he's at full strength. For Ankalaev, it's proving that his grappling and patience can smother even the most dangerous knockout artists, no excuses needed. Fans are also fascinated by the way each fighter has framed the fight. Pereira has positioned it as redemption, the story of a man coming back sharper and stronger to erase doubt. Ankalaev has positioned it as validation, the chance to show that his first win wasn't luck, wasn't aided by circumstance, and wasn't questionable in any way. Both men are chasing clarity, and only one can get it. When they step into the octagon at UFC 320, all the interviews and accusations will fade away. What will matter is who imposes their style, who adapts better in the moment, and who can handle the pressure when it counts. Pereira's strategy this time appears to be mixing things up more, rather than waiting for counters. In the first fight, he spent long stretches looking for the lead hook and focusing on calf kicks, which Ankalaev eventually neutralized. Analysts say if Pereira can bring the offense himself instead of waiting, he can keep Ankalaev guessing and potentially land the shot that ends it. For Ankalaev, the path is clear: impose his grappling, slow the pace, and wear Pereira down. He knows he has to respect Pereira's power, but he also knows that if he can weather the storm early, his chances of controlling the fight grow. The truth is, this rematch has grown bigger than just a sporting contest. It's personal, it's dramatic, and it's fueled by conflicting narratives. Fans on both sides are emotionally invested. Pereira's supporters are convinced the man they saw in March wasn't the real Poatan, and they believe he'll show his true form this time. Ankalaev's backers are equally confident, pointing out that he already proved his superiority once, and with a healthy camp, he'll dominate even more convincingly. The fan split only heightens the anticipation. As fight night approaches, the tension is palpable. This isn't just about who wins a fight, it's about who walks away with their reputation intact and their legacy strengthened. If Pereira wins, the conversation will immediately shift to a rubber match, setting the stage for one of the UFC's most heated trilogies. If Ankalaev wins, the conversation will focus on his dominance and his ability to shut down even the most dangerous strikers in the game. Either way, UFC 320 is set to define both men in ways that go far beyond a single night's result. Both fighters know what's at stake. Pereira wants to silence the idea that Ankalaev has his number. Ankalaev wants to end the discussion that Pereira was compromised or that greasing played a role. When the octagon door shuts, everything else fades, and what remains is raw competition. Fans are expecting fireworks, and with the way both men have spoken, neither wants to leave it in the judge's hands this time. Pereira has said even at 50%, he'll leave no doubt. Ankalaev has said with a healthy camp, he'll prove his dominance. Someone's prediction will be shattered, and someone's legacy will rise. The fight world is waiting. Anticipation is sky high. Debates rage on, and both fighters are locked in on delivering the statement of their careers. This isn't just another rematch. It's a collision of pride, skill, and determination. UFC 320 will be remembered not only for who wins, but for how the victor proves their point. And when it's over, all the excuses, narratives, and controversies will vanish, leaving one man standing tall with nothing left to answer.